What's up, y'all? Holy heavens. Heavens to Betsy. Who's Betsy and why did that become a saying? I don't really care to have the answer. Today is Palm Sunday. Today is the 29th of March, 2026. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is a video on our main side. Our slogan here on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company is allowing the body to work. What we do is we do that here. We allow the body to work. The body of the human being, designed in the image of God. We're a clothing company, okay? In the image of Jesus Christ. Here's your clothing company. The thing is, we're designed by someone who is not us. The body only does what it does, and there's no claim, no new information, and no opinion to this that could ever possibly matter. But there's only one way the human body could ever work, okay? We've got bones in the body that are only the shape and length that they are. Bones connect to each other through ligaments, just directly, and there's a thin layer of cartilage between the bones, joints, that's just cushioning, so the bones don't wear each other out, okay? We've got muscles. The muscles connect to the bones through tendons, and they only pull, but we've got opposing muscles. And so what we do have as well, though, is this video under In the Image Clothing Company's main side on Palm Sunday. It is Sunday today. Church was amazing for me personally. There you go. Today. But the title of this video is the pectoralis versus the trapezius. We've got these pec muscles, these pectorals, pectoralis, minor and major. There's pec muscles, okay? Musculature in the front of our bodies pulling essentially the shoulders forward. That's really what they're doing, okay? But they are versing their opposing muscle, okay? On the rear of the body, we've got trapezius. There's three of these. So an upper trapezius, a mid trapezius, and a lower trapezius pulling the shoulders backward, the opposite direction as the pectoral muscles, the pec muscles, the pectoralis, pulling forward, okay? Opposing muscles. Now, yeah, it's actually like this. It's actually more internal when you come back and more external when you come forward. We'll do it as we do because we discuss the anatomy of the human body in depth here under In the Image Clothing Company. And yeah, we're a clothing company, and so why do we discuss the anatomy of the human body? Because we're only a clothing company to allow the body to work. Clothing's just the only thing physically placed on us. It's just the literal wording. It can be pants, tops, shoes, and socks, and gloves. If you want to put a hat on, there you go. Whatever it is, but even glasses or jewelry, undergarments, anything placed onto the body is just literal wording of clothing something with something else. The way that God clothes the fields with grass, we clothe our bodies with things, but there truly is only one way the human body could ever work. And people try to train it, but you can't. You can gain muscle mass, you can gain musculature's strength, but the muscles still always only connect to the bones the way they do, and the bones are still always only the shape that they are. Any muscle mass or muscle size you gain by working out always goes away once you stop trying to get it excessively large or strong. There's only a normal. The normal heart rate per minute, the normal respiratory rate per minute, the amount we breathe, the heart's, ability to do anything. The lungs are their ability to do anything. There's an airplane noise, okay? Blunt, bold, raw, and real In the Image Clothing Company. I understand the surrounding sounds, but I also understand this. The human body's functioning a lot deeper than a lot of people do. It's not about me, but I'm delivering this information. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, I'll be doing this for my entire lifetime, and a lot of people have all their opinions on how to train your body. I'll tell you something. Gravity. Gravity has a vertical pull to it, and the Earth has a horizontal surface beneath the pull of gravity. This is a 90-degree angle. A right angle, a perpendicular angle. It's just mathematics. The human body is just mechanics, is the video's title here under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. We've got hinges and levers and rotations and just functioning with the bones of the body only the shape that they are. Only the length that they are. And there's a video here under In the Image Clothing Company's main side titled what I was saying a few minutes ago, the human body only pulls. So it doesn't matter what you're trying to get your body to do. We've got an even mathematical opposing bend system from the bottom to top of the human being to stay vertical on Earth's gravity. It's been the same since every body who has ever had one, or everyone who has ever had a body, is a universal human design. It's all the exact same. You can be slightly different from the universal human design with an amputation, a deformity, a birth defect, a major surgery, anything like this or that's not like this at all, but that sets your body apart a little bit. Cool. We're all different where we are, but there is a universal human design. Watch this. Earth's vertical gravity pull, even mathematical opposing bends. Get out your measuring tape. Don't believe me. Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Any of our team members under In The Image Clothing Company, even any of our poodles, Dante, my current standard poodles here by my feet. Don't believe our information, because truth is truth. If you don't believe in anything, stuff's got to still be there. If you don't believe you got here somewhere, well, you're still here to choose not to believe you did or didn't or whatever. Truth is truth, okay? Mathematics is undisputed. Watch this. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the low back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, and the upper back bends forward. The upper back is just the neck, the cervical spine. Yeah, I mean, we don't have any kind of sales pitch under In The Image Clothing Company. We'll sell good clothing because we've got joints of materials and joints of body parts that need to mesh to allow functioning of the hinged system of the body, you know? Yeah, clothing has to stay centered, fit correct, and be made in all the ways that we can from 100% natural materials. There's no opinion to natural. Natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the human body's functioning, okay? We've got a neutral position, just like standing up. We're either neutral, or centered, or we're leaning left from the neutral, or maybe you're leaning right from the neutral. The neutral is Earth's vertical gravity pull. You're either leaning forward from the neutral, or you're leaning back from the neutral. But the neutral is Earth's gravity's vertical pull that never changes, which is a perpendicular angle with its horizontal surface. There's only mathematics to mechanics, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. Don't believe me? Come back in 5,000 years, though, to this information under In The Image Clothing Company and see if it's still correct, because it will be. Truth is truth. I don't get to decide. But this is the thing. A lot of people try to train their bodies, okay? Wow. No, seriously, though, a lot of people, hold on. Just a little bit higher there with the camera angle, so my head's not close to being cut off. Not as close. The pectorals pull the shoulder forward. Pectorals, pectoralis, pecs, whatever I call them in this video. The muscles on the front of the chest, okay? They pull the shoulders forward. But the trapezius pull the shoulders backward. So what do? The thing is, a lot of people have their ideas of how to get something like good posture, but as we just established, that's impossible, mathematically impossible. Okay, truly. The only end is to allow God's design of the human being to work. No sales pitch. Don't believe it. I'm not trying to like sneak some sales pitch in here. I mean, yeah, we're a clothing company. We'll sell good clothing to not alter your body. But, you know, the thing is, we just wear clothing. Anything placed onto the body is placed onto the body. It keeps us safe from the elements and the weather, you know, which could be maybe said as the same thing, but yeah, you know, it keeps us modest. This is the thing. Oversized clothing, well, we've still got joints of body parts that mesh together, but if our clothing materials don't mesh at the location of the joints of our body's part meshing, wow. This video is going to be awesome. I just got to get into it to get a little bit more flowy than it currently is, because yeah, imbalances of any kind in clothing, in addition to just oversized clothing. And there's a lot of imbalances in modern day, 2026. Today is the 29th of March. Clothing designs are shipped across the entire earth in ways that they never could have possibly been shipped across the entire earth in the past, because there wasn't technology to do that until there was. And we live in a right-handed world, so 85% give or take of human beings are using their right hand for almost everything. But there's two sides to the human being with a center line between it. The body's got a sternum, a spine, a trachea, a nose, and our jaw is also in the center. The jaw is naturally stabilizing the entire body, with musculature up to the crown of our head, down into some of our upper ribs, out to the edge of the shoulder. And this musculature goes through the collar of our top. No sales pitch, but this is what's going on. If we've got imbalanced collars, the body's not going to be balanced. Even opposing musculature connecting into the center line of the body at the neck, really the spine of the neck, that's not going to remain if we've got imbalanced collars placed around our neck. So, keeping collars centered and the importance of snug collars, a couple of video titles under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, but also just huge focuses in life. There you go. Collar seams, rotated seams in clothing, buttons, zippers, pockets, shoelaces and drawstrings. Ropes is all they are, introduced to the body. We tie one side over the other in a rope and we twist the entire body. All right? We live in a right-handed world. Tying a right-handed knot on your body, twist your body into a right-handed patterning. Chronic patterning. Scar tissue, bone spurs build up in the body because if our body's not allowed to track in line at the bones, and then the muscles just pulling on those bones to allow motion, because the muscles are always a secondary thing to the bones anyway. The body's skeletal system, all the bones of it are just there, all connected through ligaments. It's all just a whole system by itself, and then we attach muscles to it. Well, we don't do it, God does. All right? The muscles are just pieced onto the skeletal system to allow it to be stabilized and to have motion. But we have opposing muscles. We pull to close a hinge on the inside of a hinge, if you will, with inside, like the elbow, the biceps. Pull, and we close the elbow. But on the opposite side, triceps, pull, and we extend the elbow. We don't push. It's impossible to push as a human being. Muscles pull to extend hinge joints, like the elbow or the knee, even the ankle, even the hips, really, are extending straighter when we pull muscles together. Okay? And whatever else in the body we could discuss is not pushing, but it's actually pulling to extend. It's mathematics and mechanics and physics. Physics is a form of mathematics. My name is Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I like to say it like this: let's squash debates with truth. The truth is, God is also called the truth, and the same yesterday, today, and forever. God had to first look like us in order to design us in his image. The human body's always been the exact same. It's always been placed on the same earth. It's got the same vertical gravity pull and the same horizontal nature to its surface. Okay, you can go up a hill only from horizontal, neutral, or you can go down a hill only from horizontal or neutral. We can lift the wrist up only from the neutral, because you can drop the wrist only from the neutral. Keeping elbows at the natural waist is a video here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. The elbows at the natural waist are the same as the shoulders at their neutral height. Remember what I said, because it's important. It applies to you. Natural, neutral, and normal. They're synonyms within how the human body works, and the body of the dogs as well. Over on In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, where we specialize in purebred standard poodles. Standard is the size. Standard is the size, the large size dog. Poodle is the breed, but we give information that applies to all dogs on letting dogs stay natural. Same thing we do over here on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company for human beings. All right? Because we discuss everything: standing, sitting, walking, eating, breathing, sleeping, hydration. Whatever we're doing in our lives, we're doing it in and through anything we choose to physically clothe our bodies with, meaning anything placed onto us. Okay? So we'll talk about In The Image Clothing Company Poodles more throughout this if we do. But the point is, Earth's vertical gravity pull doesn't change. If we're going to stand up, neither does the way the body's bends work, and they're evenly opposing each other mathematically, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, as we travel up the body from our feet at our foundation that oppose the center line of the human being, and they grip arches inward. That's how we stay vertical, standing up. Okay? Here's the thing. If you got feet, we've got different length toes. We've got 5 different length toes. We roll evenly off the ends of our 5 different length toes. There's a video under In The Image Clothing Company's main side here titled Different Length Toes. We have different length fingers that wrap evenly around our different length thumb than our fingers. It's opposable. It plays an entirely different role than the fingers do. The open palm and internal rotation. a video's title here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. So anyway, the body only does what it does, but these are some of the things that we don't really realize as human beings. The different length toes, the different length fingers. We live in this flat, modern, man-made world that we place onto God's natural earth. Flat doesn't work for our feet. They have to grip round arches, and our hands that work around our thumbs. Yeah, with our different length fingers. There's only one way the human body could ever work, so there's no possible opinion to trying to train it to do something. It'll always go back to normal after you try to get it to do anything else. No sales pitch. Truth, though. Truth for every human to ever live. Not my choice, so don't believe me. Truth is truth. Watch this, okay? The pectorals, pectoralis, the pecs, the major and minor pec muscles, okay? They're connecting to the central line of the body in the front, at the sternum, okay? And then they're coming up and connecting to the shoulder, all right? And they're pulling the shoulder joint in and forward to the center line of the body in the front when they do what muscles do when pull, contract, okay? Watch this. The shoulder is made up of 3 different bones. The collarbone, called the clavicle, it starts at the top of this sternum in the center line of the body in the front. It comes up and out and it becomes the shoulder, okay? So the collarbone is a very unique bone when it comes to the functioning of the shoulder. What I'm saying is this: the collarbone is connected directly to bones at either end, okay? This collarbone, also called clavicle, it's connected to the sternum, just directly bone to bone at the center line of the body in the front, but then it's connected to the other 2 shoulder bones at the other end of the collarbone or clavicle. So when we're talking about where the shoulder goes, the collarbone or the clavicle, right, just 2 names for the same bone there, it determines exactly where the shoulder goes because it has no play or has no motion coming from musculature at the ends of it. It's connected directly to bone, and so we pivot around on this collarbone, and that's how our shoulder moves. Watch this. We take the hand and we lock it out from the shoulder at the elbow between the 2, and the hand and the shoulder do the exact same thing. Anywhere the hand goes, the shoulder will, and anywhere the shoulder goes, the hand will. Okay, that neutral wrist is straight out from the outside of the forearm, down and out that pinky finger. We've got rotations in the forearm, the radius and ulna. 2 bones rotate over each other to have internal rotation or external rotation from that neutral thumb straight forward with our arms down at our sides. You'll never train your body. It's mechanics, okay? But yeah, the elbow at the natural waist, if it comes up, the shoulder comes up. And if the elbow goes down, the shoulder goes down because they're connected. The bottom end of the upper arm bone, called the humerus, is the elbow. But the top end of the upper arm bone, called the humerus, is the shoulder. You're never going to train this to be in any kind of position besides the only way the body could stand and sit and walk and move across Earth. All right? It's impossible, truly. It always has been. It always will be. It's not new information. It's just the truth. We don't see it if we don't see it. So watch this. We have to keep our bodies in their neutral positions, okay? The shoulder at its neutral height, so that the elbow is at its neutral height, so that the wrist is at its neutral position, so the fingers can track in line. Yeah, it's not a breakthrough. It's just, this is the truth. This is how the body works for every body. There's literal wording. There's a universal human design. The ravens have a universal raven design. Okay, and they fly overhead and they make noise sometimes that you can hear in the videos here under In The Image Clothing Company. And currently we're under our main side, specifically one of our 4ths to In The Image Clothing Company. Check this out. I'm serious. There's no way you can possibly train the human being in any way that's lasting. It's impossible. Mathematically, mechanically impossible. Watch this though, all right? And listen to this too. The raven, he's speaking. She? Okay. People will talk about, you know, pushing forward. Well, you're only pulling muscles together to extend a hinge joint of the elbow and just to bring the shoulder closer to the center line of the body in the front. We're pulling muscles together. And this is how we think we're pushing forward. But this is the pectoral muscles, the pectoralis, the pecs. Yikes. I just don't know exactly how to word it, because people call different muscles different things, you know. There's a lot of different names you can use to describe the same thing sometimes, you know. Like Jesus Christ, actually. There you go. Palm Sunday. Today's date, 29th of March, 2026. I'm serious. Watch this. Coming forward, well, you're coming forward using these pectoralis muscles, okay? Coming backward with the arms, well, you're going backward using these trapezius muscles. In the rear of the body, the trapezius muscles, they connect to the spine in the center line of the body, but then they come out and they connect to one of the other three bones of the shoulder blades, okay? These big bones on the upper back, they're called shoulder blades, or another name for them is the scapulas, okay? Scapula, shoulder blade on the rear, clavicle, collarbone on the front of the shoulder's function. But the difference is from front to back in the body when it comes to the shoulder's motion and how it's able to move. The collarbone's just directly bone to bone, okay? This clavicle is directly bone to bone on either end of it from just where the bone is here on the front of the body. And so there's no motion that can really come from the collarbone besides just how it can directly pivot with bones on either end of it. But on the rear of our bodies, the back part of our bodies, these shoulder blades, or the scapulas, these two big flat bones on our upper back, they are connected to the spine through musculature. So there's a lot of motion back there coming from musculature moving. On the front, we can only have motion in the shoulder forward from the collarbone directly pivoting on bones. But on the rear, it's musculature's activation. Okay. So this video's title on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, the 29th of March, 2026, Palm Sunday. It's a Christian holiday. Call it a holiday, call it a holy week. Here's the thing. There's no kind of opinion on if you should, you know, try to focus on your shoulders coming forward, try to focus on your shoulders going back, or try to train posture by focusing on one of the musculature groups, okay? The pectorals, it's a group of muscles. There's two muscles. The trapezius, it's a group of muscles. There's three muscles, okay? Two on the front, pulling forward, three on the back, pulling backward. There's more muscles throughout the shoulder functioning, playing into coming forward or going back, but these are some of the biggest muscles playing these roles of pulling the shoulders forward or pulling the shoulders back. We don't push the shoulders forward or pull the shoulders back. It's a pull either way on the level of the musculature and how it works. Muscle fibers fire. They get closer together. It's an electrical system sent from the brain. Muscles only contract. They only pull. They come together, okay? So we've got things like this because we are a clothing company, In the Image Clothing Company, for the sake of allowing the human body to work, which is our slogan, allowing the body to work. Stretch within clothing, it didn't even exist just tens of years ago from today's date. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way the muscles work. Today's date is Palm Sunday, the 29th of March, 2026. Yeah, the only way the body works is if the muscles work to stabilize and move the skeletal system of the body. That's how it physically operates. It's just this mechanical machine that's placed onto this rock in space that is our Earth. There's only one way the body works. There's no opinion to it. There's no way to train it. It's impossible. No new information. I don't care who's been training bodies longer than I've been alive currently. I'm 26 years old as of today's date. Palm Sunday, 29th of March, 2026. It's impossible to have any lasting benefit from trying to train your body mechanically to do something. It always goes back to normal. That's the truth, okay? But the thing with the shoulders positioning is we've got opposing muscles. Just as everything in the body has opposing sides to it, that's how it moves. We pull only, okay? On either side of the function, we pull and we stabilize in the center. That's how the body works. Just standing, like I was saying earlier, we're pulling left or we're pulling right, and we stabilize in the center, okay? Over Earth's vertical gravity pull. There's no opinion to it, okay? How the human being works. But if we don't have an even working from front to back for the shoulders to be stabilized on the sides of the body, then they won't be evenly stabilized forward from the pectoralis muscles or backward from the trapezius muscles, okay? Really, this is how the body works. We hang our arms down at our sides with Earth's vertical gravity pull, and the fingertips are the shoulder, and we have our full range of motion from here. This is how the body works. But we've got clothing. Yeah, it's not a sales pitch. This is the truth. All right, so don't believe it, because truth is truth no matter what you believe. We've got to start with our feet flat on the ground. The body's just a mechanical machine, and we've got different length 5 toes that grip arches, okay? We've got the bottom of the feet sitting on the flat surface of the planet Earth. That's their neutral. They can then lift up, dorsiflexion, or point down, plantar flexion, okay? Only from the neutral. But the body's just a machine. See how I couldn't even get my wrist down farther until I adjusted my shoulders positioning? It's just a machine. It can only do what it does, or the bones hit into each other. All right? There's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion. It applies to every body, the literal wording. Okay, so does the gospel of Jesus Christ, the truth of all things. Bold claim, don't believe it. It's not a claim, though. Truth is truth. I don't get to decide. Watch this. The feet flat on the ground doesn't happen if we've got man-made heels on our man-made shoes. Now you lift the heel of your foot up, you're constantly in a state of a little bit of plantar flexion or pointing of the toes from the neutral. And maybe this little bit goes to quite a bit depending on the height of the heel under your man-made shoe. Okay? But that's only half the function. We point down with the feet from the bottom of the foot, and that is the term zero drop. In any brand of shoe, it's just flat on the bottom, just like we're walking across the surface of the planet Earth. It's flat until you go up a hill or you go down a hill. It's just horizontal. I mean, you can see the horizon here in the video. If you can see the video, that's the point of me putting my arm out like this on the horizon level. Neutral, surface of the Earth. I didn't know these things, okay, until I was like 24 years old, give or take. A couple years ago from today's date, the 29th of March, 2026, I didn't know this had to be the case. We just don't know what we don't know, and we can't be held accountable for what we don't know, and we live in this modern man-made world. Just about every shoe design out there, I mean, the vast majority of them is the point, have some type of heel, some type of elevation to the foot under its heel. The body's a mechanical machine, though. It's got even mathematical opposing bends from bottom to top, like we addressed earlier in this video, just to stay vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. So, zero drop. The term in any brand of shoe just meaning flat on the bottom. That's the bottom of the feet. And the big point is, if we lift our heels off the ground, we change everything mathematically, mechanically, from the feet up to the tip of the head and the tips of the fingers. The body is what we call a kinetic chain. It's all connected. I told you I'd flow better as the video, proceeded. At the beginning of it, I didn't feel like it was flowing all that well. It doesn't necessarily need to, as long as the information is documented. That's really what we do, just document things under what I call the gift of video. All right, it's just a permanent date marked documentation under In The Image Clothing Company, and any of the 4 sides that it is, here you go, okay? But, yeah, I mean, we've got videos here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side titled The Natural Bend in the Knee and The Natural Curve in the Spine. There's a couple video titles under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, okay, about the human being. There's just a natural bend in every bend in the body because it all works together on Earth's surface and its vertical gravity pull. So the top of the feet's the other half of the function, though. Dorsiflexing, or lifting the feet up. This is determined by the top of the shoe, the upper of the shoe, and that shape is going to be determined by the ropes we weave in our shoes. We call them shoelaces, but they're just ropes. There's only one way you can weave a rope across the top of the mechanics of the human feet, the way that all the bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles in the feet work. Grip arches to just stabilize our whole bodies. Okay? In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, it's just what we title the only way the top of the feet are shaped. You can't own a weave of a rope, but you're just weaving ropes through holes that we call eyelets, and these coverings for our feet that we call shoes This is all man-made, and the human being is God-made. It only does what it does. The heart beats for itself, the lungs breathe for themselves, the body blinks its own eyes, and it heals itself when it gets cut. God orchestrates everything. The body only does what it does. It's impossible to get it to do anything else in any kind of way that's natural without altering the body. And the human body works activated as a whole. Everything's in the body with its own individual role to play. So if something's not playing its role, something else can't make up for the function because it's got a different function. The body works all together, or it really struggles to work, you know. That's why I explain it as we have to get as close as we can to the universal human design in all of our own individualistic situations as human beings, because gravity, okay, Earth's gravity pulling straight down on us. The spine is where the brain stems into and then feeds the entire body with electrical signals. And that's in the center of the body, between the lungs, you know, and the rib cage is connecting to the center line of the body. So it's just, there's no opinion to it, you know. It takes the entire body to some degree to stabilize in every single breath we take. The jaw is doing a huge role in stabilization, but, you know, the whole body does what it does to help the rest of it, okay. Eating and drinking with the left hand, you know, just in this right-handed world, we need to use our left hand, ideally, as well as our right. There's a video under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here titled that, Eating and Drinking with the Left Hand. Also, you can't be ambidextrous in imbalanced clothing. Another video here under In the Image Clothing Company's main site. Ambidextrous is the word that is used to describe being able to use both sides of the body evenly, all right? There's two sides to the body stemming from the center line. Okay, watch this. We're getting to this, you know, the real explanation of how this works, how these muscles are, in a healthy, proper way, versing each other. It's like how the biceps are closing the elbow, versing the triceps, extending the elbow. The pectoralis muscles, they pull forward on the shoulders, versing the trapezius, pulling backward on the shoulders. But if we've got heels on our feet, this is the point, is you can't address your shoulders until you address your feet. Your feet are what are allowing your shoulders to be there. If you've got feet and you're standing on them, is the point. If you don't, then okay, yeah, that happens. But I mean, seriously, I mean it, yeah, I'm just making that clear, yeah, that, you know, you got to see what I'm really saying. If we're standing on our feet, you can't look at your shoulders to try to address how they work before you address your feet. Because if we have heels under our shoes, our shoulders come forward. It's just how it works. Because if we didn't change the bends in our body from bottom to top, when we put heels under our feet, heels on man-made shoes, we would just fall forward. I mean, literally. You would just fall over, forward. Unless you change the way your body bends, traveling up. But there's only one way the bones are shaped, and only one way the muscles are shaped, and there's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion. It's eternal, permanent information since before I was born and after I die, on either end of everything, forever. God made this thing. I didn't design my body, but it works the same as yours does. I didn't design yours either, though. But I can tell you how your body works, and the only way it ever possibly could. With God's law of gravity, universal laws like physics, and the fact that matter cannot be created or destroyed, and we're only what we ate. Our bodies literally are the earth because we ate it. And then we die and our bodies go back to the earth when they decompose. I mean, it's truth. You don't have to be religious in the slightest, but it's just what it is. We're all human beings, the same thing, placed on the same earth, designed by the same God, and it just so happens to be Palm Sunday today. All right? Let's talk about this, all right? In the Image Clothing Company podcast, though, one of our forwards where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, and you don't have to care to even try to want to care to maybe think you could possibly become religious or something. Truth is truth. It doesn't matter what you believe. And we just have deep insights on life be given under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, but really we're discussing the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 204 as of today's date, the 29th of March, 2026. The body stands up or it doesn't, really. The shoulders have a neutral position. Not only the elbows at the natural waist, being the bottom end of the shoulders from the upper arm bone, called the humerus. This natural waist is above our hip bones, but below our lowest ribs. There's no bones at the sides of the body here, regardless of how you carry fat. We have to get all the way to the center line of the body to get to bone at the spine here at the natural waist. So that's an area where our elbows can actually be and our bodies can bend side to side, because that's the only way our bodies can bend side to side here at the core area is at the spine. Okay, the lumbar spine, the lower back. What I mean is you can't bend side to side at the hips without a foot coming off the ground. It's just how the body mechanically works. Okay, it's how not only how it works, but how it's mechanically put together. We got 2 feet on either side of the center line of the body, but the spine's right in the center. We just bended our spine side to side, all right, above the hips. So what I'm saying is the shoulders, they do have this versing of musculature, but we don't focus on the musculature really under In the Image Clothing Company, because the muscles will just go where the bones do. The muscles are a secondary thing connected to the bones. You can try to stretch your muscles all you want. Well, you'll never get anywhere else besides where the bones can go. We've got a, quote, full range of motion, unquote. Okay, there's a video here under In the Image Clothing Company's main site titled Full Range of Motion. And everything in the body that can move, it just has a full range. It can go all the way to one end and you hit bones into each other, and then all the way to the other end and you hit bones into each other. It just happens on either end. The bones hit into each other and you can't go any farther if you're allowing your body to reside in its neutral positions that there's no opinion to have on them being there. God designed the body to work. The body would just work within our own individualistic situations if we never altered it. But like I'm saying, we get into patterning when our bodies are trying to work around the only thing physically placed on them. I mean, gravity's got the same effect on our clothing that it does on our bodies. You know, especially things like ropes. Especially meaning you can especially see it like that. You know, you just tie a rope around your body, you twist your body. If you put one side of the rope over the other and tie it in a knot like that, you know, tuck it underneath, and you're twisting the whole body. So we essentially need this. You know, a video's title under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here is Right-Handed Knots versus Left-Handed Knots. And we need really what we could say as right-handed knots on our left side and left-handed knots on our right side, just because there's a center line to the body. There's no opinion to it. It's just tying something. It doesn't even have to be what we could think of as a rope. Anything you could tie on or around the body at all, you'll twist your entire body if it's not centered. The knot you use. Here comes an airplane, all right? So there's just no opinion to this. You know, we truly don't have a sales pitch. That's not what we're here to do. The only reason we'll ever sell clothing, and we will, you know, human being clothing and dog products, dogs, collars, leashes, harnesses, bandanas, slip leads, things like this are essentially clothing the dog. Well, they truly are. It's clothing the dog with something. That's the literal wording of what that means. Yeah. You know, but we'll always have good clothing for human beings and products for the dogs, whatever else we branch out into product-wise under In the Image Clothing Company. But the fix would be to never wear clothing, because then you'd never have anything onto the body to be able to even possibly physically alter how it works. And it's designed to work by God, just how the animals do. You know, the animals just work. You don't see animals doing stretching routines and workout routines to try to get their body to do something. That's impossible. Mathematically and mechanically, it's impossible to do that. I mean, they just work, you know? The body just has a position. It's determined by the shape and length of the bones. The bones are essentially immovable sticks by themselves, but then they connect to other bones and they can move where they connect. Here comes the wind. Truth is truth, you know? The wind knows, I'll tell you what. I've got this windscreen thing. It's actually just a t-shirt. It just blew completely off of where I had it here, covering the camera up a little bit. I mean, it's pretty windy. Right when I'm saying stuff like this, it's not an opinion. It's the truth. That's why I say it doesn't matter how long you think you've been training people's bodies, even your own. Even you're not. It's impossible. It's mechanically impossible. Don't believe me. I mean, I know I get so bold about things and I'm just yelling about stuff a lot of the time because it's truth, you know? If you don't, then try to find out the truth in it. Don't even listen to my words, Evan Strong. Listen to the words I'm speaking, if you can see what I mean. Doesn't matter who's saying this. It's just what it is. Truth is truth. So watch this. If we've got bones not being able to do anything besides where they connect to other bones, on the front of the body, that's what I'm saying, this collarbone, is just directly to bone on either side. So when we're using the front of our bodies, not much motion can come from there, except for exactly the only location we can directly pivot from bone to bone at either end of the collarbone or clavicle. But on the rear of the body, we've got all this motion coming from the trapezius muscles connecting one of the 3 bones of the shoulder, which is those big bones on our upper backs, those shoulder blades, to the spine. It's a lot of motion on the back. There's not much motion on the front of the body. At the chest, at the pectoralis muscles, the pecs, the pectorals, these things here, major and minor, okay? There's not much motion that can happen. It's only where the collarbone can physically go to with a bone on either end of it. But on the rear, you've got a lot of motion. But this is the thing, what I showed earlier with our arms just hanging at our sides, it's impossible to train to posture. It's just, where's Earth's gravity going to pull your arms to? That's your neutral. Your hands are like a pendulum hanging down from your shoulder capsule. And you've got your full range of motion if your body's just unaltered. There's no opinion to this. It's this simple. You don't alter the body and it works within our own individualistic situations. But what we really do is get into this deep, deep patterning. You know, and so what we really do under In The Image Clothing Company is get out of chronic patterning. There's a video here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side titled "It Took Me 2 Years," spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, and I'll be doing this my entire lifetime. I don't have some kind of like claim that you'll find out about later. I was trying to make it something it wasn't. No, truth is truth. The truth is God designed the human being. We alter its workings by placing things onto it, and if they don't work for the body's trying to work around these things, and the body gets damaged over time. I mean, we grow into patternings, you know, from a child to full-grown adult, but then also just in our adult lives, just day after day, something in the way of our bodies physically, whatever is physically clothing our bodies, if it's not working for our bodies, patterning gets created in the body so it can still do all that it can to try to work, you know. Yeah, it just is what it is. But this is the thing. The bottom of our feet is horizontal, just like the surface of the planet Earth. We travel up though, and the hips are the same. There's a neutral to the pelvis position. The pelvis is the hips structure, and it can tuck underneath us from the neutral, posterior, or it can rotate away from us just in the direction the hips already bend when we hinge forward at the hips. And this is anterior. But the neutral is the same as the bottom of the feet. It's just the opposing bend from the ankles. The ankles go backward, we go up and the knees go forward, but then we get back to the hips going backward again. The low back goes forward, we get back up to the mid back going backward again, if you can see what I mean. And then the neck is the upper back, it goes forward again. This is truth. I mean, this is as simple as it is. If we don't alter it, this is how the body works. It's still the only way it can work no matter what, but what I mean is this is why our bodies don't work, is just because they're in patterning. No opinion. This is the truth. What I'm really saying is the difference between the front or the back of the body. So much of this is being determined by either these pectoralis muscles pulling the shoulders forward, because as we showed earlier, the hand is the shoulder. When locked out at the elbow between the two, they just do the exact same thing. And so anything we're doing with our hands, which if you've got hands, you're doing just about everything in your life with your hands. You know, anything you're like physically doing or touching as a human being, it's your hands that are doing that almost always, you know. That's what we use. That's why we have opposable thumbs, you know. I mean, you think about a dog, for example, they use their mouth for just about everything. Us as human beings, we use our hands for just about everything the way that a dog would use their mouth. If you can see what I mean, it's just a body of flesh and bone and blood. There's just truth to it. We got to see it as it is, or else you'll be trying to train it to do something you'll never achieve for the rest of your life if you want to choose to do that. There's only one way this thing works for every body. Literal wording. Check it out. There's just a neutral, because what I was saying about the shoulders is, yeah, pulling backward from the trapezius to get the shoulders behind us more, or pulling forward from the pectoralis muscles to get the shoulders in front of us more. The neutral is truly just Earth's gravity's pull. There's no opinion to it, but you're not going to know that if you're within shoes with heels under them or pant waistlines that are just falling lower in the front, because a heel on the shoe points the toes, plantar flexing the feet, okay? Same thing, pointing the toes is plantar flexion, going down from the toes. The pelvis going anterior or falling lower in the front and higher in the rear, that's the same thing as the feet pointing. So traveling up, yeah, the hips have the same neutral as the bottom of the feet. It's mathematics. It's just the other bend as we come up. The knees are between the ankles and hips. The knees go forward, but the ankles go backward and the hips go backward. They're at the same level of bend when we're doing things in life. It's mathematics. It's always been the exact same. No kind of breakthrough. It's just the truth. Just to be clear, I mean, it's not about me at all. Is what I'm being clear about. It could never be. It's that simple, okay? So we talked about how shoes need to be, you know, baseline. We discussed the sole of the shoe and the shoelacing technique. The pant waistline, yeah, 0 drop, okay? Determine any brand of shoe flat on the bottom. The top of the shoe, though, in the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique, if you've got shoelaces, which you need to really, to be able to cinch the top of the shoe nicely around the foot so that we don't have play in our shoe and our foot's deactivating. We need the foot to be just, you know, really nicely snug in our shoes, and that's what shoelaces can do for us. But the weave of the rope has to be the only way the feet are shaped. Otherwise we damage the only way the feet are shaped. It's the bones. I mean, I'm talking literal bone shape. That's all it is. That's all the body is. That's how it moves, is the bones are what's moving. The muscles are just moving those bones. So yeah, pants, you know, they sit at our natural waist as well as our elbows do, is what I mean by as well. Above our hip bones, but below those lowest ribs, that's where our pant waistline sits. That's the only way the body can continue to function. If we place pants on our bodies, that's the truth. And then slightly higher in the front than the rear is how we keep our pant waistline. If we could keep it exactly horizontal with Earth's surface, then there you go. Neutral, okay? But we bend forward at the hips, so the hips bend lower in the front. And so we just keep the pant waistline. We have the idea of doing this, you know, to do what we can to ensure that our pants don't fall lower in the front, just bending our pelvis and our hips and deactivating our bodies, putting them into a deeper bend than they just would naturally be, which is neutral at the feet and the pelvis with the surface of the earth that we stand on. 0 drop, determine any brand of shoe. Now, I've only very briefly touched on the upper body so far in this video because it doesn't matter. You can train your shoulders, so you think, all day, every day to try to get them into a normal position, a neutral position, their natural position, the synonyms within the body. You can do this every day of your life if you'd like to try to, within heels on your shoes. Your shoulders will always be farther forward than they ever would naturally be able to sit. Like I'm saying, Earth's vertical gravity pull just pulls the fingertips neutral from the other end of the shoulder, you know, from the other end of the arm, from the shoulder. You know, the hand is the shoulder. So the point is, you can never address your shoulders at all. And when we're saying that, it's this video's title on In The Image Clothing Company's main site, even through the airplane noise, you can never address your pectoralis muscles pulling forward versus the opposing pull of your trapezius muscles pulling backward on your shoulders if you've got heels on your shoes. Just pushing your whole body forward. And really, you know, you have to stay standing up if you're going to stand up, and so it's just excessively bending your whole body is what ends up happening. It changes the natural bend in the knee and the natural curve in the spine. Those videos I referenced, you know, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. So that's what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how much you want to put focus on either one, your pectoralis muscles or your trapezius muscles. You can't even try to to do anything with them that's going to even matter, even to have an understanding. I'm not even saying trying to get them to do anything, because they only do what they do anyway. Just how the bones connect is all they can ever do. Where those ligaments connect to the bone and then connect to the next bone that's next to it, that's all the body can ever do. Where the musculature connects to the bones through the tendons, that's all the body can ever do. And then the muscles just pull the bones directly in line, and the bones just continue to stay connected to each other just the only way they are. It'll never do anything else. It's impossible. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything that's not just what it already does. It's impossible. Nothing lasting. Gain muscle mass, it goes away. Gain strength, it goes away. There's a normal. There's always only a normal. Try to have one side of a function be worked more than the other side of a function. It's impossible. Earth's gravity always pulls down on you the exact same. It's impossible. It's no new information, but it is impossible to change how the body works naturally. I mean, surgical procedures, sure, something like that, yeah, but the body's still all there, all working together. Okay? In the Image Clothing Company's main side, Palm Sunday, 29th of March, 2026. That's what I'm saying. Okay? The pectoralis versus the trapezius. Well, there's no thought about it other than don't restrict it, and gravity pulls your arms straight down to their neutral. And now you've got just this even opposing working from the pectoralis versus the trapezius. Pulling the shoulders forward or pulling the shoulders back, you're only pulling them from where the pendulum of the hand is hanging the arm directly straight down with Earth's vertical gravity pull, the perpendicular angle with its horizontal surface to the Earth. Okay, 90 degrees, it's a right angle, it's mathematics, it's truth, it's always been the same. All right. So the point is, you can never train it, you know, and you'll never get something like better posture than you have unless you just stop restricting your body, get it out of the patterning that it's in. But you can't do this through like working it out, you know, like trying to get it to do something like pulling your shoulders back. No, you can't. You pull your shoulders back and you've excessively elongated your pectoralis muscles and you've excessively contracted your trapezius muscles. But if you relax, you have good posture because it's the neutral, it's Earth's gravity. That's the thing that always remains. If you're standing on the surface of the Earth as a human being for the rest of your life, there's only one way your body can do that, mathematically and physiology-wise. The anatomy of the actual mechanics of the bends of the body, stemming from those gripped arches in the feet with our different length toes, and just how the body works, there's only one way. There's no opinion to it that could ever possibly matter, even of my own. No, it's not my decision, it's not my choice. No new information, no breakthrough. It's the truth, always. It's God. Jesus Christ's design of the human being in his image. Here you go, In the Image Clothing Company, our 5-word company name. This is what we do. This is why we're a clothing company. It's the only thing physically placed on our bodies. Shoulder seams. Okay, the top of our shoulders have seams across the top of them. And we discuss where clothing sits very clearly under In the Image Clothing Company. Okay? Like I say, no opinion. It's Palm Sunday. There's a universal human design, all right? Everybody who has one, or everyone who has a body, Man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, in the image clothing company. Yeah, bro. Any part of the earth, any time period to ever live. You're just a human being. Whatever else I didn't say. Man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever live. Yeah, you're just a human being. There's a universal human design. Your clothing's got to sit on your mechanical machine you've been given by God, the same as everyone else's does. The top seams of our shoulders sit evenly just right behind the peak of our shoulders. What's the peak of the shoulder? It's this bone that we pivot on, that's directly connected to other bones at either end of it. The collarbone, called the clavicle. One of the three bones of the shoulder, the top end of it up here at the shoulder joint, is the peak of the shoulder. As far as the top part of the shoulder, like the peak of a mountain. The state of Utah here, the United States of America. We live up Utah, as in the Image Clothing Company. We do a lot in the beautiful, diverse nature here in the state of Utah. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints headquarters is here in the state of Utah. Our location focus under In the Image Clothing Company is certainly this beautiful state of Utah. Me personally, because I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, is why this matters to you. I'm Utah native. Me, Evan Strong. I was born here. It's amazing, okay? What I'm saying is there's a peak to the shoulder. The very top part of the shoulder, yeah, the seams sit right behind it, okay? Of our tops, just right evenly, just barely behind that peak of the shoulder. They're either gonna sit in front of the peak of the shoulder or behind. It's either gonna fall to the front or fall to the back. The seams of the top of our shoulders. It's Earth's gravity. It's got the same effect on our clothing that it does on our bodies. Now here's the thing. Okay? The front of our bodies, where these pectoralis muscles are, this is only able to move in the amount of movement that can come from a bone connected directly to bones. Okay, the collarbone or the clavicle connected directly to the sternum on one end and directly to the other bones of the shoulder, the humerus and the scapula on the other end. That's the front. So our shoulder seams of our clothing, the reason why they sit evenly right behind the peak of our shoulders on the top seams of our shoulders, clothing items, In the Image Clothing Company, yep, is because all this motion that comes from the shoulder, most all of it's coming from these trapezius muscles in the rear of the body. Because we don't have direct bone-to-bone connection on the back like we do on the front with the motion of the shoulder. On the back, we have bones connecting to muscles through tendons, and then those muscles connect to the spine through a tendon. Okay? The big bones on our upper backs, those scapulas, those shoulder blades, that's how they can move so much like this all around the rear of the rib cage, because they're connected by muscle to another bone. The collarbone on the front, it just pivots around bone to bone. All right. And so if we want to have motion and movement in our shoulders and the ability to fully use our bodies, okay, that's funny. Yeah. That's hilarious. Truth is truth. We need our bodies to reside in a position where they can work. And what it is just neutral. Earth's vertical gravity pull from the fingertips up to the shoulder. Okay? With the feet flat on the ground, zero drop, determine any brand of shoe. The waistband, horizontal, but maybe just slightly higher in the front than in the rear, because we already bend lower in the front at the hips when we just move to do things in life with our hands in front of us, okay? The hip hinges forward, lower in the front. And then traveling up the body, the top seams of our shoulders, clothing items, need to just be very slightly right behind the peak of our shoulders, because any effect that our clothing is going to have on our bodies, it needs to be in a position where our bodies can move. You know, now gravity just pulls down on our tops and our shoulders stay neutral, because all this motion coming from the shoulder is in the back of the body. It is. Your pectoralis can only go where you can pivot this collarbone or clavicle directly bone to bone on either end. It's not much motion forward, but backward, you can go from neutral, clear back forward, you can go from neutral only as far as you can go. I mean, look at gravity. Look at my arms hanging down with Earth's gravity. I've never shown it quite like this. I've never even understood it quite like this. I mean, I understand this, but I've never, like... Okay, In The Image Clothing Company's main side. The 29th of March, 2026. It's Palm Sunday. Watch this. I'll snippet this part. This is amazing. This is from the video's title. The pectoralis muscles versus the trapezius muscles. However it's exactly titled, that's the point of the title. Watch this. That's probably just about what's going to be just about exactly titled, though. Just about, right. The body's motion at the shoulders comes from behind it. The hands hanging down with gravity, neutral. Fingertips up to the shoulders. We can pull the shoulders back a lot. Musculature connecting the scapulas, the bones on the rear of the upper back, one of the 3 bones of the shoulder, to the spine. These trapezius muscles have a lot of motion. They can pull those bones of the shoulder back in. My arms are still hanging down with Earth's gravity, but now they're behind my body. That's on the back of the body. But the front of the body, you've got the pectoralis muscles, and they can pull forward, but we're being determined by one of the other 3 bones of the shoulder, the collarbone or clavicle, that's connected directly to bone on either end. It can only go as far as it can go with those bones connecting it on either end. On the rear, we've got muscles connecting the bone of the shoulder blade or scapula, to the spine. A lot of motion from resting. Earth's gravity's pull. No opinion to it. Mathematics, perpendicular angle with its horizontal surface is the pull of gravity to the Earth. Okay. The shoulders can't really come forward. Not really. The bone can't move of the collarbone. It can't happen unless you change the curve in the spine. You know, which is starting from the feet up. And the pelvis is rotating forward, anterior. The hands work behind the body way more than they can work in front. Well, what I mean is the body pulls. So the human body only pulls, literally, at the musculature level. We pull to close a hinge, but opposing muscles pull to open or extend a hinge. Because the human body only pulls, if we try to push, you just can't go just about anywhere. Because the collarbone is bone to bone. This clavicle, it's just bone to bone on either end of it. But you can pull far because the scapulas or the shoulder blades connect to muscle and then to bone, and all of that motion that the muscles can offer is only backward. Muscles only pull. The insertion of the musculature that can move the shoulders from their neutral with Earth's vertical gravity pull is backward, behind our bodies. You literally physically can't go forward. It's bone to bone at each end of the collarbone. There's no opinion, no breakthrough, no new information. Unless you don't know this, it's new understandings, but this is the truth of God. I mean, this is the human being designed in the image of God. This is every human being to ever live on either end of any time. This is how it works. And so coming back to the video's title here, okay, In The Image Clothing Company's main side, the 29th of March, 2026, the pectoralis versus the trapezius, okay, these muscle groups, the front versus the back, you can't go forward unless you change the curve in your spine. The rib cage too, I mean, it expands vertically in the front. It's connected to the spine in the rear, and the spine's our vertical support. When we breathe in, we expand in the front. And what's this doing? Essentially, bringing our arms backward. Okay, essentially. I mean, it is, but only to their neutral is what I mean. It's essentially pulling the shoulders back, but only to their neutral, vertical gravity pull position, okay? The hand is just a pendulum, like I'm saying, the fingertips from the shoulder. It's all one thing, okay? When locked out at the elbow between the two, the hand is the shoulder. There's a neutral, okay? So there you go. I mean, there's no opinion. people try to maybe train their bodies, and they'll go to some kind of gym, or they'll do workout routines, and they'll talk about doing splits. One day they'll do pushing motions forward, the next day they'll do pulling motions backward. Well, you're always still over Earth's vertical gravity pull. There's always still a neutral, and you always still only have motion able to come from where the collarbone can physically pivot bone to bone on the front. But you can have a lot more motion always where the shoulder blades can move closer to the spine with the trapezius pulling them on the rear. There's only one way this happens. It's mechanics, mathematics. It's the human being. It's God's design. Don't believe me, but truth is truth. And it'll always be the same because it always has. So watch my explanation here of me explaining this as you're doing. That's the point, okay? But this is the thing is, if we're sitting down, well, your shoulders work in a position with Earth's gravity standing. And you sit down, and all of a sudden gravity is pulling you backward. You'll just fall backward, really, unless you change the bends in your body. You know, if you're sitting at a chair height, for example, then you've got weight on your hamstrings, those muscles on the rear of your upper legs, which is deactivating your hamstring muscle, and then your pelvis just goes anterior, forward, lower in the front, and higher in the rear. You've got this opposing musculature crossing through the hips, like this. Okay, anyway, yeah. So, the point is, the body's designed to work by God. It's designed to actually work, like actually physically do things, mechanically operate. It's a mechanical machine. And it's designed to do this atop the Earth's vertical gravity pull. So, when you sit down, your arms can't hang. And so now you got to put your arms somewhere. But now it's like your arms want to come in front of your body just because your elbow bends forward. And that's not neutral with Earth's gravity's pull. It's still the same effect on your body if you're standing or sitting or even sleeping or anything in life on Earth's surface. So watch this. The arms bend forward at the elbows. So this is what I mean is you can have a lot of motion coming backward because your arms already bend at the elbows forward. And so your arms don't need to come forward from the shoulder because they come forward from the elbow when you bend the elbow. Okay? So your arms can come forward from bending the elbow, but then your arms can go back from moving the shoulder. You see how this works? And then the neutral is just Earth's gravity's pull. Yeah, there's no way to train the body. It's impossible. This information will always be valid, so try as hard as you want to dispute it. Truth is truth. All right, In the Image Clothing Company's main side, 29th of March, 2026. Palm Sunday. You got to see the context, though, starting from the feet, traveling to the hips, traveling up through the spine. Before you can ever get to the shoulders, your feet are supporting you on Earth's vertical gravity pull, if you've got them. Whatever's below your shoulders, though, is below your shoulders on Earth's gravity. And you've got something below your shoulders if you're alive. You've got to breathe somehow. You've got to digest food somehow. All that stuff's below your shoulders, okay? The lungs and the digestive system. Meaning, yeah, we've got our different bodies, but they still only work how they do. No matter if yours is different than the universal human design is the point, okay? In the Image Clothing Company. So the other thing with sitting down, though, is your shoulder seams on top of your shoulders. They'll want to come over the front of your shoulders because your shoulders are trying to come forward because you can't hang your arms down, or they hit the chair, or they just pull you backward because your feet aren't underneath you if you're sitting down. You'd have to just be squatting, just straight down to have your feet stay underneath you. Okay? We got to remember, man-made chair heights only exist since they got invented. Man-made shoe designs only exist since they got invented. And any kind of man-made clothing, modern clothing design, if you see what I mean, the human being's always been here since anyone, really since Adam, but really since God. Adam's the first man, but God had to first look like us to design us in his image. So now we're a clothing company here under In The Image Clothing Company to allow the body to work, okay? Yeah. I almost don't even want to say this information. I don't, because I'm not worthy of knowing this kind of stuff. This is the fix. You can't do anything else to fix it. Posture problems, or like this inability to work within your body. What I mean is the only end is to not alter your body. Like I said, the only end is to allow the body to work. It's God's design. We've got to let it do what it does. It only does what it does. Unless you change the shape and length of the bones and the way that the muscles pull on them, because muscles only pull anyway, you'll never get the human being to do anything besides what it can physically, mechanically do, and really since birth, essentially. I mean, we grow and our bodies change to a degree in the ways they do as we grow, but the body's just what it is. It's growing by itself from a little kid, to a full-grown adult, like from a baby, an infant, or even from something that wasn't even really there at one point, and then a woman gets pregnant, and all of a sudden the baby grows, and then the baby's born, and then the baby grows, and then as an adult, this stuff happens by itself. You'll never train it. It's impossible. Try your entire life to dispute what we do under In The Image Clothing Company as far as what we're saying with it's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything, and you will never dispute this information. It's truth. But you have to have the context on what's going on. But God designed the human being to work. We're in patterning, all right? So we really give the understandings and the information, the free modifications in clothing, and these things under In The Image Clothing Company here to be able to allow your body to work. I've gone before as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I've documented the journey and posted it publicly under what I call the gift of video. There's a universal human design. Every body has one. And in modern day, we've got just about fairly, universal clothing designs across the entire earth too. So we get in universal patternings. And then just being in this right-handed world as well, products that are designed to be used with one hand will be designed to be used with the right hand. And, clothing designs in the ways that they are right-handed to a degree. And then Earth's gravity just pulling down on us if we're doing things with our right hand. Our right side just pivots down and out into external rotation on the right side from this collarbone or clavicle. That's what I'm saying. It's the only place the shoulder can ever possibly go is determined by the collarbone pivoting, the clavicle. It pivots down and out into external rotation, or it pivots up and in to internal rotation. Down and out or up and in, that's all the collarbone or the clavicle can do. It's just bone to bone directly on either end. So the big point is, I guess, like the answer to, I don't really know there wasn't really a question necessarily, but I guess the resolve to this understanding of the pectoralis versus the trapezius is it's Earth's gravity. Where's your arms going to hang if you're entirely without clothing, just to see the body unaltered in its mechanical workings is the point. And if your body had never possibly been altered into patterning, where you've got bone spurs or scar tissue built up in locations of the body that are not allowing your body to just work properly, in a right-handed patterning, almost certainly, even if you're left-handed in this right-handed world, you'll almost certainly be in a right-handed patterning still, to a degree, but certainly if you're right-handed. What I'm saying is, if none of this was ever altered, how we find this balance of how they can evenly, properly, healthily, naturally verse each other, because they should, the pectoralis muscles pulling forward, or the trapezius muscles pulling backward on the whole joint of the shoulder, it's Earth's gravity. Feet flat on the ground, no waistbands around the hips altering them with something like a drawstring twisting the waist, or pant waistlines falling lower in the front. No seams on the top of our shoulders that are pulling our shoulders forward, with shoulder seams just doing that. I'm not even going to word it how that's going to happen, because shoulder seams sit evenly, very slightly behind the peak of the shoulders. and everything else traveling through the whole body, if we have things just altering our bodies anywhere that could be happening, and we've built up patterning, really the question is, where is this even natural versing of the muscles pulling the shoulders forward or the muscles pulling the shoulder back, the pectoralis pulling forward or the trapezius pulling back, just some of the muscles playing into those functions of the shoulders, but the main players, if you will, of that functioning, either forward or back with the shoulders. Where's the neutral? What's the resolve to the title of this video on In The Image Clothing Company's main site on the 29th of March 2026? The pectoralis versus the trapezius. Earth's gravity. Neutral. The arm is being pulled down. The fingertips are the shoulder when locked out at the elbow between the two. That's your resting state. It's the most restful state you can have as a human being, is activated as an entirety. The way the body is designed by God to work, and it does. No claim. It's the truth if it's not altered. So we can get out of patterning. I've done it personally. Again, you can watch it. I couldn't claim it. You can watch it. I've posted it publicly, just, under the gift of video. And it doesn't matter. I mean, don't believe in anything. What's the truth? Well, mathematics don't lie. Math equations either come out to be the answer or not. It's just what it is. Truth is truth. The truth is, it's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. Something like shoulder positioning, or what we could call posture, it's gravity. So here we are in the Image Clothing Company. We're only a clothing company because clothing has to fit. It's the only thing placed onto the human being. We've got joints of material meshing with joints of body parts. So we talked about the top seams of the shoulders in this video. The edge seams of our tops need to be as close as we can get right to the edges of the shoulder joint. We've got these three bones. Collarbone called clavicle, shoulder blade called scapula, upper arm bone called humerus, and these bones are meshing and meeting to become the shoulder joint. And this is where the joints of our clothing have to be as close as they can to. Otherwise, it's just differences in joints when we place a man-made thing onto the body to clothe it with. It's a different joint than where the body's joint is if it's not meshing. Then the body's what gets damaged. The clothing, it's just clothing. But the body's the only thing that you have in this life. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled The Only Thing That We Have. Yeah, unless it's the only thing that you have. No, it is we. That would make more sense to title it that way, but just as far as the title, yeah, that's what it is, because everything in our lives could leave or come, but only from what's essentially our bodies. Us in this physical life, we are this physical body. Well, we're within this physical body. Once your physical body leaves, your physical life is done. This one. So clothing, it's only there once we make it. But we didn't make the human being. God made it for us. There's no opinion to that. How'd you grow? You gonna try to take credit for growing? All of a sudden, I'm just so accusations. Sometimes how I just, preach. I'm a little bit bold. I'm really bold. I'm not trying to be mean, but if something's not my choice, then it just is what it is, no matter what, no matter who has an opinion on it, even if it was me. Truth is truth. And I really, truly do understand how the human body works. I'll be doing this my entire lifetime. Me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company here. This video will be valid for every human to ever live, even those that lived before I got here on this earth. There's a universal human design. And so it's just an even position of the shoulders front to back with Earth's gravity's pull from the fingertips up to the shoulder. That's where the neutral is of the pectoralis pulling forward versus the trapezius pulling back. You'll never train it. It's impossible. It'll be impossible like 30 years from now when maybe if I had a claim, it would have worn off by then and you would have found it out, right? So just come back whenever and it's still the truth. It's not my choice. Just because, I say it like that because a lot of people have so many claims on how to get your body to do something, and then, some time goes by, and then people are like, oh, man, I thought they were onto something, someone's saying. It's like, nah, I guess They're just trying to get you to buy something. No, we'll sell good clothing, but like I'm saying, the fix would be to never put anything on the body. In the Image Clothing Company clothing will just do what we say, stay centered, fit correct, and be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. You know, I mean, you got to buy it in your size, and you know, it's got to be seen with context on what's really going on with the body. Because what I'm saying is, you know, our clothing will be simple, minimal, light, brandless on the exterior. It's not about our clothing at all. It's about allowing the body to work under In the Image Clothing Company, even through the airplane noise, you know? And this one's actually a helicopter. Palm Sunday, 29th of March, 2026, today's date, In the Image Clothing Company's main side. Dante really is down here by my feet. I'll have him come up so you can see him. It's a good time too with the airplane noise. Helicopter. Hey Dante, you come? Up, up. Good. There he is. Good one. Good. Good. Good, Dante. Whoa. All right. We'll wrap this up. I'm pretty much done with the discussion on the shoulders for this video, but you know, I'll give the other information that I do. Just wait for the helicopter for just a little bit here. It's pretty noisy for me right now, so. So here's the thing. We discussed where clothing sits, all right? We discussed tops, baseline. We get into things in depth, you know? We give a lot of free modifications in clothing, modifying, if you will, the ways that we approach our lives, just so that we can do it in a way that our bodies can physically, mechanically do it in this modern man-made world with a lot of things that don't necessarily work for our bodies. You know, the slippery flat flooring with our rounded feet, the flat things we hold in our hands with our rounded hands, the hand arches, if you will, correlate with the arches in our feet. And if we alter the feet arches, we'll alter the hands. And if we alter the hand arches, we'll alter the feet. It'll just happen through the body's kinetic chain. You know? The hands are stabilizing for the feet, just as the feet are stabilizing for the hands. So that's the point, is just flat things in your hands, your shoulders come forward. Your hands are open so that your shoulder capsules can be open and neutral, but that's only if your hands are round, because the different length fingers work around the thumb. It's just how it works. It's not my choice, but it's truth. Here's the thing though. We've also got tags in clothing. I talked about no stretch in clothing just because it goes the exact opposite direction. The only way any of the muscles in the body can do anything by pulling, okay? Tags in clothing came just tens of years ago from today's date as well. Today's the 29th of March, 2026, Palm Sunday, okay? Tags, it's just like having a literal leaf from a tree between your clothing item and your body. That's not good for your body. There's only one functional position the body has. It's in its neutrals. And if we put a tag in our clothing, we change the body's position out of its only neutral position. Or we could even say its only working position. It's neutral. I mean, that's the only way the body works, is in its neutral positions in everything ever, you know? I mean, we could talk about literally everything in the body. If it has motion, it's got to have two sides. Or you just move once and you're done. But there's two sides to move to from the neutral. That's why we say it as we do: natural, neutral, and normal. Synonyms within the functioning of the body of the human being. The dogs as well, you know, In the Image Clothing Company poodles. But here's the thing. Remove the tags. You know, they're either just causing a physical gap when tags are within our clothing, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing musculature to activate. And like I was saying earlier, you know, the human body can't actually compensate because everything's got its own function to play for it to all work together as a whole. I mean, what it really takes for this human being to stand vertically on just these two little feet is ridiculous when we think about it. Stuff like that, I mean, it just is what it is. And only that. It's God's design, it's not our choice. All right? And that, my harshness is just as much toward myself as anyone else in this case, or any case ever discussing truth. That's apart from all of us. It's not like I have some kind of side to take. There's no side to possibly take on truth. It's either true or it's not. Anything ever in life. And I don't get to decide that or change it. As a human being, none of us do. So don't come after me if you've got like a problem with what I'm saying or whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'm wrong. Right? What's the truth, though? That's the point. Is getting the truth. So yeah, we remove tags, all right, from clothing. And we get in depth with a lot of things, but you know, some of the free modifications we give in clothing are things like this. In the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification. If you've got a seam in the collar of your top, or just anything that's different or discrepant around the circumference or the circular nature of the neck of the human being in a clothing item's top, same with the dogs, you know, we just got to keep our collars centered, like I was referencing earlier. And the importance of snug collars, well, they need to be snug and centered collars, okay? Truth is truth. It'll change the jaw. You know, the jaw is the shoulder, as the video's title here under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. And it is directly. Through tendons and musculature, the jaw is connected directly to the edge of the shoulder. So, anyway, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying, and that's it. So hear what I'm saying, not what you're hearing. Truth is truth, though. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. Mechanically, you know. That's all it is. It's just a mechanical machine. Hinges, levers, or rotations, physical operation to take us across this earth with, you know, just this body that God designed for us. Grows by itself, man, to the shape that it is and the functioning it has, and that's it. We're individuals, but we're the same within our differences. It is what it is. I mean, you just got to see it as it is. And so what I'm seeing right here is a lot of layers, a lot of beautiful metaphoric things. You know, a day like today is a big day. It truly is. It's Palm Sunday, you know. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I mean, just Christians across the entire earth too. You know what you know if you know. If you don't, there you go. That's what I'm gonna say about that for right now. It's just beautiful. But yeah, there's a lot of layers to this dirt. You know, this has been cut away. I'm seeing all these different layers of just years after years of just the different like surfaces to the ground that stack up. You know, as the wind blows and it changes and stuff. I'm serious. That's what this is. It's just a big dirt wall right here that the camera's sitting on. You know, sitting on. In the Image Clothing Company music, another one of our fourths. What we do a lot there is what we do. But what we do is show the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter things like the neutral wrist. Like I was saying earlier, straight out the outside of the forearm, down and out that pinky finger is the neutral wrist, okay? And the rounding in our hands too when it comes to sizing and setup of guitars. Whatever else we show, you know, sizing and setup with musical instruments going forth under In the Image Clothing Company music. That's what I'm saying, you know, the body's just a mechanical machine. If we're playing music with it, we have to do it the only way the fingers can track in line. There's no opinion to that. Rhythm and poetry, spoken word, singing, guitar playing, lyricism, music in general, right? Geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages over on In the Image Clothing Company music. We've got a lot of series where we do under In the Image Clothing Company. Okay, we've got 4 sides to us. We do a lot of things here. Okay, here we go. St. George, Utah. Dante and I will move just about 3.5 hours south from where we're currently standing here in Utah County. The point of me saying this is I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. My name is Evan Strong, as I've said in this video. St. George, Utah, it's the very southernmost part of Utah. It's a true desert. Beautiful red rock, the sandstone, dry, awesome desert. It's kind of a barren wasteland in a beautiful, expansive way, though. It's awesome down there. It's ridiculous. It's the very top part of the Mojave Desert, really is what it is. And I'll tell you this much. We're going to move down there in about a month, give or take, or less, from today's date, the 29th of March, 2026. Yeah. Before the end of April, 2026. There you go. In the Image Clothing Company. That's where we'll be based for life. So we'll have our team down there. Our building will be there. We will breed purebred standard poodles to advocate for the health of purebred dogs, for keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes. The way we do this is by starting before birth with proper breeding for the health of dogs. You would just about never even be able to have the possibility to have a mixed dog breed in nature. Survival of the fittest. You know, dogs stay within their breeds and they either survive and can have puppies, or they die and they can't. And so you've got healthy dogs in the wild. And in our modern man-made societies with our domesticated dogs, we've got a lot of unhealthy dogs in a lot of ways and cases. And so we show the sizing and setup of holding leashes naturally. Okay. On In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, we show the sizing and setup of guitar on In The Image Clothing Company Music, but holding leashes naturally so we don't alter our bodies as the owner of dogs. And, you know, the sizing of dogs versus the size of owners. You're trying to get down to a little dog when you're relatively tall like me. I'm 6'2" tall. So these little dogs, you know, it's going to be harder on your body to get down to the dog and harder on the dog to get up to your body, to just like interact with your dog, hang out, love, and play with your dog, you know, work with your dog too. I mean, there's a lot to this. And so these are a lot of the things we do on In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. And it's big, man. You know, a lot more of that will be able to happen easier when we have our team down in St. George, Utah, and when we have our building to be able to breed our poodles within, you know. And I mean, we need help, you know, to be able to have In The Image Clothing Company be the fullness of what we are going to have it be. There needs to be more people than just me, Evan Strong. I'll be doing this my entire lifetime, but I'm the founder. We need a team behind us as well. And so a lot of things will branch out a lot more and quickly once we get down to St. George, Utah. So that's why there's that context that I give there. Things like Poodle Parade events is what we title it under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. You can bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size. And our location focus certainly is the state of Utah here in the United States of America. But wherever we branch out into, if we do, yeah, we'll get people into nature and dogs into nature. Just come for the events and the reason we're doing them, not for In The Image Clothing Company's team. If you see what I'm saying there, right? I mean, things like Clean the Creek or Rid the Rubbish, specific subcategories of Poodle Parade events, will actually pick up trash for the environment. And these are our focuses under In The Image Clothing Companies. Things like this, you know, things for the environment, things for the healthy dogs. Allowing the body to work is really the only reason we're a clothing company. It's not about fashion. Our clothing will actually, in fact, be very simple and minimal under In The Image Clothing Company, you know, which can look great, but it's just for the body's sake is why we're going to be having clothing. That's why we wear clothing to begin with. You can choose to want to, you know, be fashionable with your clothing, but the reason you're wearing clothing in the beginning, well, we're talking about in the beginning. Yeah, the gospel of Jesus Christ, all right? Yeah, it is what it is. All right, thank you. This video is huge because, man, I'm not as emotional as I might have sounded right there. I started to like choke on my mucus. I mean, sometimes I'm full on crying in these videos. I'm just saying right then I was just kind of choking on my my own mucus. but what I'm saying is this video is huge because so many people put a lot of focus on the shoulders, rightfully. If you're gonna move your hands, your hand is your shoulder, okay? And if you're just going to stand up, your shoulders have to be in a position where you can stand because your shoulders connect to your spine. You know, your shoulders connect to your rib cage. Your shoulders have the weight of your entire arm pulling down on them from Earth's gravity. You know, your shoulders are your body's neutral from front to back. You know, your shoulders are connected to your jaw. I mean, you know, and then the jaw plays at least these roles in the entire body. Speaking, breathing, eating, and stabilization of the entire body are roles, at least those four we can say the jaw plays for the entire body. Man, I understand the lighting's changed a lot in this video as well. It's fine. You can get the information from this. It's just a date marked documentation, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do this. It's one of the big reasons I call it a gift of video. I say this information one time, and I would never necessarily have to speak these words like this again to explain this topic. I could just reference somebody back to this video if I could get them to it, you know, or like tell them how to get to it is the point, you know. I mean, we've got a lot of beautiful things that have come with technology nowadays. We don't discuss technology just about ever, really, you know. Very, very rarely do we under In The Image Clothing Company, with the goal being natural, you know, unnatural, artificial, and synthetic. We've got a lot of these things in life, and they always decompose back to natural. We can only take natural things to make unnatural things with. They always decompose back to natural things, as I was just saying, because matter cannot be created or destroyed. Truth, you know? So, all right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, tags and clothing, shoulders, seams, things like this. I mean, keeping tops waisted is a big focus. You know, try to have your top sit right at where your hips hinge, at the shirt tail or the tail end or the bottom end of your top material, your top clothing item. You know, things like keeping short sleeves short and the importance of even short sleeves. Those are a couple video titles under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, but yeah, just having short sleeves out of the way of the forearm with its rotations, and it's just the lever system of the forearm at the elbow. You know, sleeve cuffs off the wrists with the long sleeve, pant cuffs off the ankles, short cuffs off the knee joint, you know, for the short length pants. Just, I mean, it's just functioning that's there, you know, and if there's something in the way, there's something in the way. That's what I'm saying. It's just the literal wording of clothing. The body does what it does, and if we clothe it with something that doesn't allow it to work, it doesn't work, you know? So, anyway, we've got a lot of videos, you know, well over 500 videos under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company alone as one of our fours under In The Image Clothing Company as of today's date. The 29th of March, 2026, Palm Sunday. But, you know, all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company, we do what we do. We're doing this for life, you know? I mean, this is permanence. Let me reference a few things just because there's kind of no reason not to. We're already making the video. Let's give some context. That's what these are, just documentations, really, at this time period at least. That's the point. There's a few episodes of In The Image Clothing Company podcast titled these. The Long Game, I'm in This For Life, which was spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. That makes it more credible. Laying a Foundation was episode 100's title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. And so these are some episodes of In The Image Clothing Company podcasts titled explaining that this is not a temporary thing. Just to be clear, it's permanent, okay? And that's why we've got these videos the way we do, just so long and thorough, because if we can explain things in such thorough depth that you couldn't possibly dispute the truth of it, then there you go. That's the point. That's what we're doing here, is getting down to truth under In The Image Clothing Company. It's always been the same, and it always will. It doesn't matter who's saying these words, meaning delivering any words of truth. It doesn't change. Anything that is or was ever true always is and will be. It just is what it is. So yeah. All right. That's what we're really doing here, by the way. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what kind of access to what kind of clothing you have. It doesn't matter what kind of society you live in. It doesn't matter what or how or if clothing designs ever change to being anything different. There's only one way the human body could ever work. That's permanent information. Since every body ever. So, I mean, just know that we're gonna get really, 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 let's say this, understood as who we are here under In The Image Clothing Company, because you don't really know. You probably would have, you know, not that great of an idea of really what all we actually are as In The Image Clothing Company just by hearing our 5-word company name. Clothing is just part of what we do to be able to function, to do everything else we need to do in our lives. Like that. Seriously. Those motorcycle sounds, those people can only ride those motorcycles if their bodies are physically able to do it. I'm not even joking. I mean, that's not like some kind of stretch to explain something in a way that like sounds close to what we're doing. I mean, that's the reason. That's what we're doing as In The Image Clothing Company. The body is what's being clothed. There's only one way it works, right? So, we'll always have some beautiful team members. God-fearing, animal-loving, nature-loving human beings, as In The Image Clothing Company's team, okay? It's gonna be really cool, man. Just all of what we're going to be able to get to do through this. You know, working with good organizations and companies doing good things, just like we're trying to be good people doing good things here under In The Image Clothing Company. For the environment too, I mean, just oh, there's just so much here in the state of Utah. You'll see if you do, you know, if you're willing to see what we're really doing here, well, it applies to you. So as I say, you don't even have to care to want to try to care about clothing in the slightest. But if you're wearing it, it's the only thing physically placed on your body. It has to sit where it has to sit to allow your body to physically, mechanically operate. And we truly know how that is under In The Image Clothing Company. And there you go. I mean, that's it. All right. Man. All right. I'm not here to cut videos premature, you know. Sometimes it's like almost an internal battle, like, well, I'm not really saying much. Should I cut the video? But then maybe all of a sudden I say some, you know, fairly long piece of information or context that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to say if I were to have cut it, you know, and put it in the same video. I wouldn't have been able to quite have it be in the same video, you know, like that. So there's just something to this, you know, just kind of sitting on things like this when I don't really know exactly what else I'm gonna say. But I'll tell you this much, you know, about Palm Sunday. I can feel it. I can feel it as a special day, like physically, you know. I mean, you could say spiritually, but I mean, I can feel it in my physical body too. I mean, like, it's a beautiful day today. It's Palm Sunday. You know, Palm Sunday, it's the start of Holy Week. You know, it's going into Easter, which is next Sunday. And, you know, you can read the Book of Mormon. You can read the Holy Bible, you know. And get an understanding of what Palm Sunday really is. But yeah. Anyway. Oh, it's beautiful out here too. I mean, the weather is just, it's wonderful right now. It's like 75, 80 degrees, give or take. But it's like this cool breeze and the cloud cover is overhead right now. It's calm out here. You know, besides the noises that have been in the video where there have been, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's like this calm feeling. It's nice out here. Very nice. I mean, like, you know, it's yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification. We've got In The Image Clothing Company's pant zipper modification. But anytime there's zippers or buttons or pockets or rotations in seams, you know, with robots stitching our clothing in modern day in ways that never could have possibly happened in the past, we've just got different stitches that are happening in our clothing. We've got rotations, you know, and so we modify these things because the body has its own rotations within our clothing that needs to stay centered. I mean, even this inside out shirt that I've got on top of this other shirt, you know, In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification has been done to this shirt, you know. And the dreaded collar seams have been modified in both of these tops as well, because there's only one way the human body could ever work. It's just the truth. So it'll be really fun, man. I mean, you can watch our team members, like I say, under In The Image Clothing Company. As they come onto our team, their bodies will change, as mine did. Me being the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong. You can watch our team members, and once they start doing what we're showing and sharing here, there's no approach, but just let's not alter our bodies and let them work how they just do. You can watch their posture get better. If we're calling it posture. I don't know what Dante's doing. He's sniffing something. I was just checking to see if he was eating something off the ground, but he's fine. Just sniffing the weeds there. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, you can watch our poodles. You know, you can watch just how our poodles are natural dogs. As far as I'm talking physically natural, like they had the physical full ability to curl up and tuck tightly when they sleep, and full range of motion in their neck when they can, you know, look around. And, you know, they're physically capable dogs because we don't alter them, you know, is the point. Because of our information under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. And a lot of that information, not only does it apply to all dogs across the earth, any dog that it could possibly apply to, which would basically be just about every single dog, because they're all dogs, they're all canines, even within the individual different breeds. But our information on In the Image Clothing Company poodles applies to a lot of animals across the earth as well, like pack mules or horses. You put a halter on something, it's like putting a slip lead on a dog. I mean, they put slip leads on, goats or pigs at where they do, yeah. And whatever it is like this, the goal is natural. Under In the Image Clothing Company, the goal is natural, all right? So that's how it's not our opinion, possibly. It's not possibly even something we could choose, because everything was naturally just as it was before human beings even came onto the earth, But the human being was naturally what it was until it could get into patterning to not work properly. Look at the babies and the toddlers of human beings. They've got natural motion. Their bodies work well. That shouldn't go away. The only reason it does is through patterning, and you can see that as being true when people like myself, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong, or whoever it is though, get out of patterning. It just is what it is, all right? I don't want to cut it premature, but it's truth. I mean, there's only one way the body functions. It's like making a machine and it can only do what it does. Well, that's what happened. But we just didn't make it. God did. Palm Sunday, 29th of March, 2026. Today's date. So, anyway. Cool stuff, man, huh? Cool because it's permanent, it's life-changing, and it's not conditional. You let your body just do what it's supposed to. We allow our bodies to work with our information here under In the Image Clothing Company. When I say our information, it's just our understandings, is what it really is, of information that nobody gets to own. And it's permanent. You get out of chronic patterning and it's permanent. Your body will work for the rest of your life, as long as you're intentional to not alter it again. That's truth. Don't let me claim something, but like I'm saying, try to spend your entire life doing what you can to disprove is what I really mean to say there. What we do under In the Image Clothing Company, and you can't. You won't. No. And it's nothing to do with us. Anyway. Okay. But just sitting in moments like this is huge too, because I don't have some kind of unrealistic expectations, but I have some pretty high expectations because I know what's to come. How big we're going to be under In the Image Clothing Company, and then looking back on where we were here, like as of today's date, for example. Not only is it Palm Sunday, the 29th of March, 2026, and it's just a beautiful day, a beautiful feeling because of it being Palm Sunday and what that really means. But also just, what these documentations really are and how much they'll mean to us. Me personally, if no one else, but as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, years down the road, decades down the road, looking back at this, like, this is what made us be able to stay credible. And it's not only that, because truth is truth, and it's credible if it ever is, but as far as the longevity of, me making these very foundational videos at the start, the first couple years here into the founding of In the Image Clothing Company, it gives us this longevity to show what I'm saying, where, a lot of times it takes some time for things to be found out, and somebody just has some kind of claim or some kind of like idea to sell something, and people don't really realize what's happening until some time goes by. But we want it on the other end, as In the Image Clothing Company. The more time that we can have go by and us saying the same things, even if it sounds different than what a lot of people across the earth are saying, if it's truth, it's truth, because we don't get to decide or change truth. And so it's even more of a testament to God, really, within the longevity. Not necessarily that we would have to have things, be longer than just, saying them once, but but it is beautiful to be able to do this. I mean, as of 2026, 2025, and we founded In the Image Clothing Company on the 23rd of March. I mean, no, on the 23rd of September 2024 was In the Image Clothing Company's founding date. And so, I mean, just as more time goes by and we're saying the exact same things since we were saying at the very founding, the same things that we were saying since the very founding, it's still the same. It's still truth. Truth is always truth. It's even more of a testament to God for those that maybe are waiting for some time to go by to be like, nah, you know, whoever it is in any instance in life, maybe you're seeing if they just had some kind of like an approach that was a claim or to try to sell something, you know, like in a sneaky kind of way, you know what I mean? Or in just like a little bit of a misleading kind of way. It's the truth, and always has been, always will be, that it is impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything besides what it does. It's just the shape and length of the bones, the shape and length of the muscles. It's a body that grew by itself. Its hinges, levers, and rotations. It's designed in the image of God, and we as human beings make clothing. So we're a clothing company here under In the Image Clothing Company, just to allow the body to work. But it'll never change how it does work, just like it never has up until now from everyone who was before us. There's no redundancy with truth either, you know. That's the thing, is if we're saying the same things just again and again and again, it's just that we're reinforcing that things are just what they are. That's what I'm saying. The more times we say the same things and they're still true, well, they're always true if they ever were. That's where the credibility gets built, you know? So, Palm Sunday, 29th of March, 2026, all right? So don't get it twisted. I'm gonna keep saying that where I do too, you know? Don't think we changed as In the Image Clothing Company. When we do more things than you realize we were planning to for the environment, for example, you know, and so much with the dogs over on In the Image Clothing Company poodles, specifically purebred standard poodles. And, you know, all the things that we do in nature and just with other organizations and companies and within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Don't think that we, like, changed. This is what we do. This is what we were founded to be, as In the Image Clothing Company, is the things that we do, because that's why we were founded, is to do the things that we were planning to do. I mean, it is what it is, you know? So yeah. All right, I mean, it just is what it is. And what I am is very grateful, and that's part of what this is. This I'm not dragging the video out, but like this like ending to this, how it's just me kind of talking, you know. Now at this point, it's just more dialogue of just like my personal explanations of what's really happening here under In the Image Clothing Company. A lot of this is me expressing my gratitude because I can see personally how far I've come with this for the sake of the impact in the company, but also for the sake of myself, my own personal relationship with God, and the growth within me in ways that are actually lasting and that matter. Not like trying to get better at any kind of thing for like a time that's a conditional thing, but change in my whole being, physically, and just who I am as a person, that is literally actually permanent. And again, I couldn't claim it if it lasts. So the longevity will just build that credibility even deeper than it just already is, if we're discussing anything that's just already true, you know. Man, it's just hard for me to accept, though, I'll tell you that, because, you know, people around this time, they might not really realize why. I mean, if you heard me say these words like right now, like today or the next week or two, give or take, you watch this video, but I mean, I'm not making claims, but just wait. That's what I mean. The longevity will make it even more able to be seen. It's crazy, man, what we're really doing here. So anyway, yeah. All right. Thank you.